Hello, my name is Sharice Holder, and I am here to show you how to make this beautiful DIY centerpiece for very little money. I love seeing these videos on YouTube of people creating just exquisite pieces, all with pieces and materials from the Dollar Tree. It just blows my mind. So I took on the challenge to see if I could come up with something nice. I had a good friend who needed some centerpieces for an event that she was having. And so I decided to just take a look at some of the things that were out there and decided to go ahead to the Dollar Tree to see what I could find in my local Dollar Tree store. And I came up with this beautiful centerpiece. It's so elegant. The color scheme was silver and gold, so you'll see a mix of silver and gold in the piece. And it does include several pieces, so it's a tiered centerpiece. And here are all of the items that are included in this centerpiece. The amaranthus. Now, I do not have a green thumb, and sorry, I can't pronounce amaranthus, I believe is how you pronounce that. But they had several of these. They had them in pink, they had them in blue. And so because our color scheme was silver and gold, I decided to get the pretty yellow ones to keep it nice and light and neutral. Now, this particular piece of the centerpiece has a box, and I'm just going to deconstruct this so that you can see exactly what I did here. So the dollar store had a lot of these neat little boxes. They're little marbleized boxes. So it's just a marbleized paper on there. And they had different sizes. This is the smallest size. The project I had to deliver utilized all of the boxes that I had, and I took every single box that was in the store. So sorry, there's nothing left in my local store, but they had different color tops. This one actually has a glittered silver top, which is really, really pretty, if you can see that. So that is what I'm using as my container, basically taking the top off and using the inside as the main container. I just want to show you here that this is created with lots of different bundles of flowers. So this is my main floral right there in the center. And as you can see, as I take it apart, all of these little bunches of flowers are put together separately. And I just want to show you how we constructed these individual bundles, which you will eventually use for your centerpiece. And I mean, and this is also a great easy way to create little boutonnieres. This would be too big for one, but you get what I'm saying. All right, so I'm going to put these to the side over here. And all right, so I start with the rose. Some of the rose bushes had really nice dark green leaves to it, which I prefer. Sometimes you can leave the leaves on, you can take them off. It's your preference. So for the rose in particular, I wanted to leave the leaves on. And I'm going to cut this stem with a wire cutter about 2 inches. Yeah, so about 2 inches. Then I'm going to take the floral sticks, which you saw in our supplies. Now the floral sticks, this is a medium size and it has a wire on the end. And that is basically used to attach to your floral. That's another reason why I like silk florals. I mean, silk, you kind of love them or you hate them. I don't have a green thumb, so I don't have a problem with the silks. As long as you can help them to look really nice and elegant and look like they cost way more than you paid for. That's what's so beautiful about the dollar store, because I know I've taken several of these off, but you get 6 roses on one bunch for $1. So that's going to come down to just pennies for each rose, and that's what's going to allow your overall centerpiece to be so inexpensive yet very, very elegant. So the first thing I'm going to do is add the rose to the floral stick, and then I am going to take one of the hydrangeas Now the floral stick is the main piece that's going to enter the foam. So this is why you cut your stems short, and your stems are going to end up higher than the bottom of the floral stick, because you want the floral stick to do all the work inside of the foam. All right, so you only need about 2 inches. Take a little bit more of that off on the bottom of your stem. Now what I'm going to do right now is create the center, the main piece, which is really, really nice. I'm going to create this first and then put it all together for you. So we're going to take, actually, you know what I'd like to do first? Let's do the berry, because the berry is one of the main highlights of the... I'm going to take the greenery off the berries. I really don't like the leaves here. They really look fake. We know it's a silk plant, but I don't like it when it looks too fake. All right, so now I'm going to actually cut the berry about 2.5 inches long, because I want the berry to sit a little bit higher than the rose. I don't want it the same size as the rose. I want it a little bit higher. So therefore, I need the stem to be just a little bit longer, because again, I want the bottom of my floral stick to be the last piece here. I'm going to take a piece of floral wire, and this is a 26 gauge wire, so it's nice and thin. I'm going to unwind, I guess about 12. I guess that might, we're going to say that was 12. So about 12, I guess that's going to give you about 18 inches or so, because you need a nice long wire. Again, just sort of eye it and place it whatever way you think looks best. And when you place the wire on, leave it really long on one side, and then leave about 1 inch to 2 inches on the other side. I just call that the tail. And then you're going to tightly wrap it about 3 times, excuse me, and then wind the 2 wires together like that. So this is the beginning of our center focal piece of our centerpiece. I like to do individual bunches, because that just allows for the structure to look prettier, to look fuller. You're not worrying about individual flowers flying out. So it's just a better way to control the overall look of your piece. All right, so the next piece I'm going to put on is the hydrangea. And again, you just eye it. So I'm going to keep the leaves on this one and just add it right to the side there. Again, you just eye it based on what you like. Excuse me. So I'm going to wind this up really tight about 3 times. This way I know the flowers are not going to come apart. That's another thing I love about silks. They're very forgiving. You can manipulate them. You can move them. They're never going to die. So, I mean, you can't beat that. So I'm going to put that to the side. So we have our rose. We have our hydrangea. And I think I'm going to add, I did another rose. They did have rose bushes where the roses were tight. They weren't open. So I don't have any more of those, because I put pretty much everything in the project that I delivered. But I'm going to leave the leaf on this one. And again, I'm going to give about 2 inches on. Be careful with your wire cutter. I'm going to leave 2 inches on. And I'm just going to eye it. I think I want to place it just basically on the other side. Give it 3 or 4 really tight wraps. And so it's coming together really pretty. All right. So again, this is going to be our focal piece that's in the middle. And our focal piece actually has some greenery. So I picked up the spider plant. And what's really cool is to just be creative and think of how you can use something a little differently than what its intended purpose was. So it has different size leaves on it. I'm going to take 2 of the small leaves. All right, 1 small leaf first, and then I'm going to fold it and make a little loop. Just take a very small piece of wire. You don't need a long one on this one, because we're just going to attach the loop at the bottom. Make sure that that stays folded. And so there we have our little loop. And I'm just going to add that right to the side. So this is my top. So I'm just going to add it right here on the right side of this small bunch. One that about 3 times. Then I'm going to take another small one and cut it right at the base. It doesn't give you much stem, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to create our own stem somewhat just by folding it, taking a very small piece of the wire and connecting it. Okay. I love wire as well. I use wire for everything. I mean, this is a staple that you must have in your house. The wire, you also must have a hot glue gun. I hot glue everything. I made window treatments in my home and I hot glued everything. And they've been up for probably 10 years. I've never had a problem with them. So I made a lot of, for clients, I've made a lot of window treatments and I've used hot glue to add different colors to the bottom. I don't want to get into that. I can talk about that all day. So anyway, I'm going to put this on the other side. Okay. And attach it nicely. And then our final piece, we're going to just add another piece of the spider plant. Okay, and we're going to keep this one open and we're just going to attach that to the back of our bunch here. Okay, so we have two that are looped on the side, almost like a little bow, and then one piece coming up the back near the berries. And we're going to attach that with our, that is the reason why we needed that wire to be really, really long in the beginning. So like I said, about 18 inches, or you just unwind it about 12 times. See how pretty that is? And see how we were able to take that spider plant and use it in a different way, other than just sticking the whole thing into an arrangement. I also tend to save a lot of leaves from the arrangement. So hydrangeas come, these didn't, but if you get a little bit more of an expensive hydrangea, they come with really beautiful large leaves. Don't throw those away. I've used those so creatively in so many different ways, you just can't even imagine. Maybe I'll create another video on that. All right, so now I'm taking the floral tape. This is floral tape. And the cool thing about floral tape is I'm covering all of the wire that I use, and as I stretch the tape, it sort of activates the glue. Like you don't even feel the glue in the tape until you start using it, and it sticks so perfectly. So this is giving us a nice, clean, beautiful, you just rip it off and it stays together because there was glue inside the tape as you stretch it. It gives you a nice, clean look. All the wires are covered. And that's going to be our main centerpiece in our arrangement. So I'm going to, you cut it to the size of the box, below the edge, below the top rim. And I'm just going to construct this for you. So here's our main centerpiece. That's going to go right in the middle. The other thing I want to mention is with the bunches that I have here, instead of using the green berries, I just use the lilac. So I just cut off some lilac and I treated it just like it was the berry because I only wanted the berry on the top. So basically we used one main bunch at the top and then 4 around the side. So depending on how full you want it to look, I wanted it to have a nice full look. All right, so this is the front. So you see your two, you can see that the 2 spider leaves that were folded. And if you want to do more folded spider leaves, that would be really pretty all the way around. And there you have it. It's so beautiful. You can add a number of many things. That you saw earlier, I actually took some of the bling ribbon, if you will. The dollar store has some bling ribbon, but it comes in a slimmer ribbon. But I like to get the big, thicker bling ribbon. And because you can cut any size of the pieces, is I used a little piece of, let me borrow this over here. I just cut maybe 2 strips, and then I folded it like that. And I took one of the floral sticks and basically just placed it in the middle here. You can see that hopefully. And just attached it with the wire. There are some longer floral sticks, and I would probably need a longer one. And then I just placed it in there where it had just a little bit of bling. Hopefully that's coming through. There's just a little bit of bling in there. So that's another fun way to use the bling ribbon. Okay. So there you have it, your beautiful arrangement. The other piece that you need is this. They had these little columns, which are basically candlesticks, but I use them as my base for my centerpiece. And you can either hot glue it together. I've also used just that sticky floral clay and just stuck it onto the column. And then that way I can take it off whenever I want it and use it in another way. So there's the floral to the centerpiece, the overall centerpiece. Other thing that came from the dollar store, I couldn't believe it, were glasses that said Mr. and Mrs. So the project that I did was for a bridal shower. And so those were perfect. I took all of those from my store. Sorry, there aren't any left in my area. And then there were drinking glasses. This is just a regular cylinder-shaped drinking glass. It did have a nice, pretty little gold rim on it. Hopefully you can see that. And so I like those. My color scheme was silver and gold. Then they have, I just took some of the bling ribbon and you cut it to size. And basically you're just going to add that to the top. Just put a little bit of hot glue onto the glass. The other thing about hot glue is that it's so forgiving. It's wonderful because I can actually remove this hot glue later. Let's go on a little bit. I can remove this hot glue a little bit later from this glass and it won't damage the glass or anything. So that's why I love hot glue. It's immediate in its results. And as you can see, I placed a rose in here and I just took the stem and I twirled it. You can just take a pencil or something and twirl the stem so you just don't have straight stems sticking in the glass. Since the glass is clear and you can see them, you want it to look pretty. So it just adds another little pretty element to it. Then I took, here we go again, another one of these spider leaves, spider plant leaves, and you just roll it around your finger. Drop it in the glass. It's going to open up and just, let it be really organic. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just going to go into the glass. You can swirl it, do whatever you want. And then you can take your rose and maybe open up some of the leaves and put that right in there so you can see some of the rose. And what's pretty is when the spider leaf actually just sort of graces the front of the rose a little bit. So it's really pretty. So I used 2 of the drinking glasses. One I used the same way. I put the bling ribbon on the bottom. I put a single strand of the bling ribbon up on the rear. I turned the glass upside down. I placed inside of it the spider plant leaf, some of the berries, and some of the rose. So I just got a little bit of a different effect. Turn the glass upside down. Glass, which is basically right side up. Keep that right side up. And I put that on a votive holder. I did a singular strand of the bling ribbon at the top of the votive holder. I didn't want too much on the base. And it's, again, your preference. You can put how much you want, as you want. Then you're going to attach that votive holder, turn it upside down, and you're going to attach it to the bottom of the drinking glass that you just created. And it gives it a really unique base. I used E6000. The only thing that the instructions on E6000 didn't look like it was really safe. So I did use it for just this small amount. I used it in the garage, and I was very careful. Of course, these were not glued together, but you're going to definitely have to glue those together because you don't want all of your centerpiece coming apart. That is not what we want. So then I took the water, even the floating candles came from the dollar store. And you're going to glue the base, and then I hot glued the glass. So I put hot glue around the bottom of the glass, and I placed that in there. And it's going to be more than strong enough for your event. And after the event, you can actually remove the hot glue from the bottom of the glass to use it in a different way if you want. Oh, I also want to mention the love. It came in a script, the love script, and it's mirrored. The only thing is you have to remember there is a film, there's a protected plastic film on top of the love that you want to remove, and that will allow the mirror to really shine through once you remove that film. I added some extra bling on the bottom, on the top of the love script in various areas in silver and gold. And then they also had these really neat little silver wedding bands in the wedding section, I believe, of Michael's. They were really cute. I added those on top of the mirrored base because the love script came with some individual hearts. Another thing the dollar store has, which I really like, are these markers, these metallic markers. And you can take, if you can't find the Mr. and Mrs. glasses, you can take the metallic markers and write the names of the bride and groom, or if you're having a 50th birthday party, maybe you can put the number 50. But these are great, and you can write directly onto the glass. So I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I'm Cherise Holder. I am with Transformations, transformmenow.org. Because we're in the wedding season right now, people are getting ready and they want to save money where they can. Hopefully you can utilize this, and send me a message on my website, transformmenow.org, and let me know that you were able to use this and how well it came out. Send me some pictures. Thank you so much.